It was one of those raw, unforgiving nights in the outskirts of Boise, rain slicing through the dark like 1,000 tiny needles. Noah Jennings, a quiet man in his 40s and a single dad since cancer took his wife 2 years ago, pulled his weather-worn van into the only open gas station for miles. His 9-year-old son, Ethan, sat in the passenger seat, yawning. As Noah stepped out to fill the tank, Ethan tugged at his coat sleeve. "Dad, look over there!" Under the flickering lights at the far end of the lot, crouched against the side of a vending machine, was a woman soaked through, holding a small girl beneath a torn, damp quilt. The child looked no older than 5. The woman's left arm was in a sling, her hair was matted to her cheeks, and her eyes, sharp but exhausted, met Noah's for only a second before looking away. Noah hesitated. He had rent due in 3 days, a job that barely kept him afloat, and enough worries to fill a notebook. He wasn't in any position to take on anyone else's problems. But Ethan didn't wait. He grabbed his raincoat from the back seat and jogged into the downpour, offering it to the woman without a second thought. "Hi," he said gently. "My name's Ethan. You okay?" The woman blinked at him in surprise. She pulled the little girl tighter. "My name's Harper," she said, almost as if it hurt. "This is Grace. We don't want to bother anyone." Noah approached slowly, umbrella in hand. "Ma'am, do you need help?" Harper's story came in pieces. She'd been a paramedic in Los Angeles, injured in a pileup during a rescue mission. After her recovery, she'd lost her job when the department downsized. A few bad breaks, a landlord who wouldn't wait, and soon she and Grace were living in her car, until it broke down 2 days ago. "I don't need pity," she whispered, trembling. "Just one night out of the cold." Noah looked down at Grace, her cheeks flushed and eyes glassy. "It's not pity," he said. "It's being human." That night, Harper and Grace curled up on an air mattress in Noah's tiny living room. Noah heated up canned soup and grilled cheese. Ethan brought Grace his favorite flashlight that projected stars on the ceiling. Harper cried silently in the bathroom, overwhelmed by the warmth, the safety, the kindness. It was the first time in weeks she'd heard her daughter giggle in her sleep. One night turned into 3. Harper offered to clean up, cook, and even helped Ethan with his math homework. She reorganized Noah's cluttered tool shed and fixed the broken cabinet hinge he hadn't gotten around to in months. Slowly, laughter returned to the house. So did music. So did the smell of Harper's homemade cornbread, which even picky Ethan loved. Noah found himself smiling more, talking more. He hadn't realized how silent his home had become. Harper's strength, even when cracked at the edges, lit up something in him that had long been buried. But then a twist no one saw coming. Harper had been quietly trying to reclaim her identity, her medical licenses, her ID, anything that would help her get back on her feet. One morning, while Noah was at work and the kids were at school, she visited the local records office. The clerk took her name and paused. "Harper Marie Ellison?" She nodded cautiously. He blinked. "Ma'am, you've been listed as a missing person for over a year. Your brother's been trying to find you. He even filed a private investigation last fall." Harper's breath caught. "My brother?" Turns out Harper hadn't just worked as a paramedic. She was the sister of Marcus Ellison, a renowned philanthropist and tech entrepreneur based in Seattle. They hadn't spoken in years after a falling out when their parents died. She chose a quiet life of service. He chose boardrooms and spotlight. But when Harper disappeared after losing her job, Marcus never stopped looking. Noah came home that evening to find a sleek black Tesla parked in his dirt driveway, a sharply dressed man standing on the porch talking to Harper. She looked almost unfamiliar, taller, sharper, like the pieces of herself had clicked back into place. "I didn't tell you everything," Harper said softly to Noah, eyes searching his. "I didn't remember how to be myself until now." But here's the real twist. She didn't leave. She met Marcus, hugged him tightly, made peace with their past, but chose to return not to luxury, but to the creaky old house with hand-drawn superhero art on the fridge and mismatched socks in the laundry. To Ethan, who now called her Miss Harper and showed her his secret comic book sketches. To Noah, who never once asked her to be anything other than exactly who she was. 2 months later, she used part of her inheritance to buy Noah a brand new van with heated seats because he always worried Ethan might get cold during long drives. A year later, they opened a local foundation, Grace Harper, a nonprofit shelter offering transitional housing, job training, and emergency medical aid for homeless families. And on the 3rd anniversary of that rainy night, Harper stood on the porch with Noah watching Grace and Ethan chase bubbles in the yard. She took his hand and said, "You gave me more than a place to sleep. You gave me back my dignity, my peace, my purpose." Noah squeezed her hand gently. "You brought color back to this house, Harper. You saved me right back."